Hi, this is Hugh Evans, CEO of the Global Poverty Project, and I'm here with Carol Bellamy, who's the chairman of the Global Partnership for Education. Thank you very much for your time, Carol.
Thank you, Hugh.
Really appreciate it. Well, I'd be interested in your reflections on the Global Citizen Festival, which the Global Partnership was part of, and it was wonderful to have you involved, so thank you very much for that. I'd be interested in your perceptions of what were your expectations of the festival, and did it meet your expectations?
Well, I'm not sure what my expectations were, but it was certainly a terrific event. I mean, I thought to myself later, it both brought people together, particularly young people, not limited, but particularly young people, in both physical space right there in Central Park, but also in a digital space. And I thought that was a wonderful way to bring people around eliminating extreme poverty. So for me, that was very important. These are issues that don't attract enough attention, and certainly don't attract enough attention by young people. So I felt very good about it. And
so I'm interested in your thoughts on, can you explain for the whole audience, what was the commitment that you made on stage at the festival?
The commitment we made, the Global Partnership made, was that we would work to increase by $500 million, $500 million, the funding for children to go to school and learn something in school in what are called fragile states or conflict-affected states.
By a particular date?
Well, we didn't set an absolute date, but we want to do it. I mean, you don't want it to be years and years and years from now. We had held a major replenishment or fundraising effort in 2011. We will hold one in 2014. So clearly, within the next year, we want to have accomplished that, and we've already raised some additional funding toward that goal, even as we're speaking now.
So can you explain, of that funding that's already been negotiated, plus the funding that you plan to secure through the next replenishment round, the impact that will have in the lives of the world's poorest people around the world?
Well, I always hate to put absolute numbers to it because I don't think you can always tell, but it will be focused very much on really the most difficult to reach. At this point, it's estimated that there are about 61 million children who've never ever had an opportunity to go to primary school in the first place. And of that 61 million, about half of them are in conflict-affected states, in part because it's very difficult. I mean, even in the poorest countries, the capacity in government is quite limited, but in these countries, very often it's almost non-existent. So this funding will go to a number of things. It will go in some cases for school construction. It will go in some cases for pedagogical materials. But it may even go sometimes to deal with psychosocial issues that are really keeping kids from the opportunity to get back into school. So it will be unique in each place, but it will be very specifically focused on those children who've been the most difficult to reach.
So I'm interested, Carol, in what role can global citizens play in supporting your replenishment efforts in 2014 to ensure that the Global Partnership for Education has the funds that it needs to operate, and ultimately that countries have the funds they need to implement education projects on the ground?
Travel anywhere in the world, in the richest countries and the poorest countries, and ask people what's important. They say education is important, but then it gets taken for granted. And it's actually perceived to have been more successful in terms of global development than some of the other areas. Because, as I mentioned, we've gone from about more than 100 million kids out of school who've never been to school to about 60 million, even with population growth. So part of what any citizen can do, wherever they are, whether they never leave their neighborhood, is just learn more about this and learn how important education is to economic growth, how important education is, particularly when we're talking about girls, to not only that girl growing to be a healthy adult, but her children less likely to die before the age of 5, that education contributes to more food security in the world, because the majority of your farmers around the world are women, and again, if they get an education, they're able to do more. So advocating for the importance of investing in education is something that somebody can do anywhere in the world. Write a letter to or send an email, or tweet or respond to a tweet to your member of Congress, or something like that, or some leader, or go give a talk about this. Keeping education front and center in the agenda is something that everybody in this world can do, and you don't have to have some big advanced degree.
So if everyone around the world and all our global citizens started tweeting politicians, started calling them, that's going to help your cause greatly?
It does. It's going to help the cause of children going to school and learning something. And if that happens, then that helps the global partnership.
Good. So I'm interested, the final question for you today is, we obviously want the global citizen movement to have a lasting impact for the world's poor, for NGOs like yourself, and also for the global citizens involved. What would be the final message that you would leave to those global citizens who are wanting to participate on a day-by-day basis?
Well, I think sometimes people see Bono out there or some other star, and you had some famous people at the concert. And I think people think you have to be super famous or some kind of hero or some kind of star to be able to make a difference. And they are wonderful, and I'm very happy that they do what they do. But you don't have to be. Every single person can make a difference. And that's why I think the term global citizen, it really sums it up very much. So this isn't super global citizen. This isn't hero global citizen. This isn't movie star global citizen. This is you. It doesn't matter if you've never traveled to another country in your life. You don't have to have a lot of stamps in your passport. You just have to be willing to go out there and do something. Talk about it, write about it, learn about it, make a contribution, support something that you really care about, but go out and make a difference. If you make a difference, one little small difference, we can do away with poverty.
Carol, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.